Hi, welcome to Self-Care Sunday. And I'm going to talk for just a minute before we begin. And first, people joining us, just let me know if my voice is clear. And also, I have a little gentle music playing. I had it playing in the yoga video that I did on Friday, and you couldn't really hear it. So let me know if you can hear the music playing, if it's too quiet or too loud, and I can adjust that. So, welcome once again, and thank you so much for joining us for some self-care, and also take a moment to thank yourself for joining us for a moment of self-care. I want to talk today about what is self-care, why it's important, and then I want to do about a 10-minute guided meditation. So, full disclosure, besides my yoga teaching that I have done for the last few years, but not consistently the last couple of years, I don't really have experience doing guiding meditation. So if you feel like today coming in and joining us for a talk about self-care and meditation is a little bit outside your comfort zone, just know that it's a little bit outside of mine as well. So just as always, we're in this together, and I'm honored to be your guide and to have this chat with you today, because self-care is super important. So if you are going to join us for just a few minutes of talking and a few minutes of breathing and meditating, just before we begin, you will need a prop or two. That would be a thick pillow or two, some rolled up blankets, rolled up yoga mats, a comfy chair, whatever it may be, and go ahead and get those things now, while I'm talking, because I want you to be able to get really comfy, and we'll talk about that when we begin the meditation. So just take a moment to grab your props, and let's begin. What is self-care? Why is it so important? Last week, I did a talk, or maybe it was the week before. The days are all kind of blurring in at this point. I did a talk about finding Zen, and I mentioned a cup analogy. And I want to elaborate on that cup analogy because for me that is the best way to describe and explain why self-care is important. So entertain myself and yourself for a few moments. Imagine that you are a cup, and we are all cups, and every person that you take care of and every task that you do is a cup. And every time you do something for something else, you pour from your cup into theirs. Everything that you do is an exchange of your energy, your time, your focus, and your effort, right? So every time you do something, you pour out of your cup into another. And if you're giving that of yourself to your loved ones, to your children, your family, to your work, that's wonderful, because we want those things to thrive. We want to give and our energy and our effort and our time to all of those things so that they thrive. But if we're constantly pouring and giving and not doing things for ourselves to fill the cup back up, our cup begins to empty, and we begin to feel run down, we begin to feel overwhelmed, we feel like there's too many things and not enough time or energy to complete them, we, in a sense, feel stressed, right? So imagine when you're stressed, that's the feeling of your cup being empty. And we all can tell the difference between when we had a full cup and we have all the energy to do all the things and we're just basically killing it, right? And when our cup is getting empty and we're stressed and things feel harder to do, and you get that sense of, I just can't. So, self care is the act of filling your cup back up. When you're pouring from the top of your cup and when you're filling your cup up or when your cup is full, that's your best self, right? And it's easy to pour from the top. If the cup is full, I just have to tilt it a little bit and it runs over, right? And so if I'm keeping it full, everything that I need to do is super easy. I just tip a little and I've poured, right? And when our cup is empty, not only do we have to work harder to get things to come out, think about if your cup is yourself and your best self is at the top, well, what's at the bottom is all the sediment that's fallen to the bottom for a reason, right? So now we're working really hard to pour out the last little bit, and what's coming out is like the sediment, like the crap of ourselves, right? Nobody wants us to pour that into their cup, right? Nobody wants us to accomplish our tasks and take care of our things with the stuff that's stuck and left at the bottom. They want your best self, and you want to feel like your best self. So that's, one of the reasons why things are, they feel easier when you've taken care of yourself. And one of the reasons why when we are stressed we don't act, we're not our best selves and things feel harder. And so that's my cup analogy. And self-care can take many forms. Some of the best forms are diet and exercise, right? Nourishing our body and keeping ourselves healthy, keeping ourselves fit, so that we can accomplish all the things that we need to do and have the energy that we need to have. Self-care is taking care and getting adequate sleep so that we feel rested and we have the energy to do the things we need to do. And also, self-care is making sure that our body gets put into a relaxed state. If you were tuned in yesterday and you listened to Jeremy Bain, he talked a little bit about parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest, and your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight. So when we are rested and digested, or when we have activated our nervous system to accomplish those things so that we are rested and digested, so that we do get adequate sleep, so that our body is nourished and we do feel energy, we need to help our body to be in that state rather than to be in a state where we feel under stress. And when we feel under stress, when our sympathetic nervous system is activated, we want to run, we want to fight, or we want to hide. And that's when things like procrastinating and worrying take over. And now, yes, you have all these things that you feel like you need to do, but you're spending time worrying about them and procrastinating and not actually getting them done like you would if your body was in a relaxed state. I think it's interesting that my hands are going the opposite of the way I'm going, so it's as if we're reading Asian here. But I hope that makes sense. So one of the best tools that we have, you've heard me say it, you've heard many people say it, you heard Jeremy say it yesterday, is our breath. The breath is the most powerful tool that we have, and if you do nothing but just remember to slow down your breath, take 10 deep breaths. When you're feeling stressed, that's wonderful. But I would also encourage you to start a meditation practice, which can be as simple as breath focused work. But it can be a lot deeper, it can be a lot more, and meditation can be any number of things. And the first thing that, if this is new to you and you don't know where to start, just remember that most people don't know where to start. And forget what you think meditation is or what it should be, because again, it can be many different things. And you can start with taking 10 deep breaths, right? So there are also, if you don't know where to start, many online resources. There are apps with guided meditations and meditative music. There's lots of meditative music and guided meditations on Spotify or your favorite podcasts. There's meditations on podcasts wherever you listen to, whether it's Apple Music, Spotify, or YouTube. Tons of free videos on YouTube and guided meditations. And so there's a ton of resources out there. One that I use is called binaural beats. It's not an app, it's not a website, it's a type of music, actually, a type of sound therapy. Binaural beats. I'll write it in the comments so you know how to spell it. And it's, like I said, it's a form of sound therapy to help relax your brain waves from more erratic to more calm brain waves. So there's tools out there that can help you as well as just being here today. So another thing that really helps if you don't know where to start with meditation is to set aside a time to do it. Make it part of your routine. I also talked about routines in my talk from several days ago. And two of the most common times to meditate is either first thing in the morning or the last thing right before you go to bed. I like to do mine first thing in the morning. I like to wake up, and oftentimes before I even get up, but sometimes I'll go use the bathroom, get a glass of water. But before I do anything, I do my meditation. And it's a way to just start my day exactly in a calm, centered space, full of love and gratitude, where I want to be. Doing it right before bed is a great time because it calms and relaxes your body right before you want to go to sleep, which is wonderful. But you could do it any time, and it could just be, 2, 5, 10, several hours, but 2, 5, 10 minutes. However many minutes you have, however many breaths you can do anytime, it's going to be helpful. So I know it can be overwhelming, and again, it can bring people out of their comfort zone to think, well, I'm going to have all these thoughts, and I can't do it, it's really hard. But know that you have resources, and any little bit helps. And other things that help, which I would encourage you to do now, is to put your phone on Do Not Disturb and Silent. So if you're joining us, please put your phone on Do Not Disturb and Silent. Also, having headphones really helps because sometimes, also if you're listening to guided meditations or binaural beats, you need to have headphones in because it's playing different wavelengths in your different ears. But also it helps block out distractions, right? We want to take away distractions. We want this to be a time of as much as we can, focusing on the self. And if you like to use CBD or essential oils, lavender oil is really nice. Taking a few deep breaths of lavender essential oil helps your system as well. And then we're just slowly going to begin our meditation now. So if you are joining us for the meditation, please get really, really comfy. And you can do this seated or lying down. If you're going to be seated, be in a comfy chair, and you could have your back up against a wall. You can lean back against a wall. And I want you to take some of those pillows or blankets that I had you get in the beginning. And if you didn't get pillows or blankets, get them now. And you're gonna, I'm sitting on some rolled up yoga mats. So that's what I'm showing you now. So if you're sitting, I want you to put cushions, pillows, blankets, whatever you can under your hips so that you elevate your hips so that they can relax and your knees can be lower than your hips. So you could be sitting in a chair with your knees parallel to the ground. You can be sitting with your hips propped up on pillows, or you can lie down. Lying down is wonderful. I meditate lying down. I'm sitting now because I'm doing this live video, but normally when I do it, I lie down on my back and I take those blankets or pillows or whatever you have rolled up, and I put underneath my knees so you have a gentle bend. You just want a little bit of a bend underneath the knees. It's going to help the spine relax. And if you need to have a little pillow underneath your head for some neck support, I also need that. So you might need that as well, just depending on your spine. So I hope you're all feeling really comfy wherever you are. And I invite you to take your awareness now to your breath. And just witness your breath without trying to slow it down or speed it up. And it's okay if naturally bringing your awareness to your breath, it begins to naturally slow down or slightly speed up. Don't try and make any adjustments, just become aware of your breath. Your inhale and your exhale. Noticing how it feels. And if you're breathing through your mouth, I invite you to breathe now in through your nose. If for some reason you are congested and you're not able to breathe in and out through your nose, that's absolutely fine. You can breathe in and out through your mouth. But if you are able to feel the inhalation coming in through your nose and feel the exhalation going out through your nose. Maybe you notice that it feels cool coming in and the breath feels warmer as it moves up. So staying with this awareness of our breath, relaxing and softening with each exhale into our comfy space that we've created for ourselves with our blankets and our pillows. And just know that no one's good at meditation when they first start. It's a practice. And know that it's natural to get lost in your thoughts. Meditation isn't necessarily about stopping all thoughts. Just notice when your mind does begin to wander, and when you do have thoughts, acknowledge them. And then bring your focus and your awareness back to your breath. And after you finish your meditation is the time when you can go back and you can analyze what thoughts were coming and why. Maybe right? So it's okay to have the thoughts come. Just acknowledge them and then bring the awareness back to the breath. So now I want you to become aware of your exhale being longer than your inhale. If you're someone who likes to count, you can count your inhale, and you can count a number twice as long on your exhale. And then let's take a few breaths to scan the body, starting at your feet. And think about this nice, slow, relaxing breath going all the way down to your feet and feeling your feet relax. Feel your breath traveling all the way down to your ankles and feel your ankles relax. Feel your knees and your thighs and your hips and your bottom relax. Let go of any tension in your lower body. Feeling the belly rise and the chest rise as you inhale, and as you exhale, relax your torso. Feel the breath traveling up and down the spine, and as you exhale, relax your spine. Feel your shoulders relax as you exhale, and your neck soften. Your jaw soften. Your cheeks and your eyes and your eyelids soften. Let's keep the awareness now right above the eyes, right in the center of your forehead. Just noticing if you see any color, any light, any shape. What each of us sees when we close our eyes is going to be different. Just noticing, like we're a witness to our breath now. And a witness to the screen behind your closed eyes. just knowing now as you breathe, coming back to your breath and your body, and a little more awareness back to your external world. Take a moment to notice how you feel right now. You can gently open your eyes when you're ready, knowing that this space of calm, centeredness is available to you anytime by simply becoming aware of your breath. So once again, thank yourself for taking the time for some self-care this afternoon, this morning, this evening. You can come back to this video anytime or discover any number of guided meditation practices that are out there. Some are more heart-centered, more breath-centered, more sensory aware. I hope you explore, I hope you find time for yourself to fill your cup, to be your best self so that you can give your best self to others. And I wish you the most wonderful rest of your day. You can ask me any questions that you want in the comments. I will read them and answer them later. You can reach out to me via email, via Facebook. I'm definitely here to help you with paddling, with training, and with meditating. Just however you can be of service.